like Anubis, with pristine, so back mindset, like a machine. In the game, we're clean, we're so keen. Powers in the sky, chasing that dream. That dream, obelisk tide, we rock the scene. Capturing rhymes while taking what's unseen. On the arc, we're kings, we're supreme. Never seen the limits in when we evergreen. Time grows very interesting. We will go clean the crown. We'll tear it down. There's nothing they can never do to take down our crown. And we will pop them down and make the drum sound. There's something inside more that's still sneaking around. Now watch the ice still. We're fighting down. Run and charge and calculate the power we bring. Cutting like a panther, hear a battle sing. We're blazing through the ranks on the move and swing. With might in our heart to take everything. Everything pillars rise as we claim our throne. For victory, we've already grown. On the field we fight, we overthrow the known. Nothing stop us, ain't no way we stand alone. Time grows very interesting. We will go clean the crown. We'll tear it down. There's nothing they can never do to take down our crown. And we will pop them down and make the drum sound. There's something inside more that's still sneaking around. Now watch the ice still. We're fighting death. From the desert altar to the desert outpost, we crave more. With every sweet stride, we will arrive. We're opening the door. So here's to the grind. We'll tear it down. There's nothing they can never do to take down our crown. And we will pop them down and make the drum sound. There's something inside more that's still sneaking around. Now watch the ice still. We're fighting death. Yeah, we're fighting death. We're fighting death. We're fighting death.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the semifinals of the Osiris League. My name is Brian Koo, and I am very excited to bring you this semifinal match in the realm of Horus. It is going to be 60 MX against 3379. Now, in terms of making it to the semifinals in the Osiris League, these two teams have had different roads. 3379, 2 weeks ago, beat the favorites for the tournament, 60 GT, with a very high-risk, well-executed obelisk play at the start of the match. They disrupted 60 GT's obelisk at the beginning of the match. Then they used master strategy to warp many players to swarm that obelisk down and block any teleports. They then took over that obelisk and beat GT by 17,000 points, 14,000 points in the round of 16. 60 MX is the sister team of 60 GT. We could call them potentially the B team in 60 GT in 1960, where the players who are not quite strong enough to be on GT formed this MX team. And they have now been playing together for a number of Osiris League seasons. They have made the semifinals in the past, although last season they came up a bit short of that, finishing in the top 16. They've been regarded as the B team to 60 GT, but in this Osiris League, MX has the opportunity to get some really nice bragging rights against their alliance mates, and also make their mark and really establish themselves as a team of their own in Ark of Osiris. Here in the realm of Horus, there are only 3 teams left. OWR is into the finals, and the winner of this match will play OWR next week. 60 MX is the favorite in this match, and certainly could be the favorite again next week. But they have a very tough opponent here in 3379. 3379 last week won by about 2,000 points against 3174. That put 3379 into the semifinals. It confirmed that they now have reached two major goals in this Osiris League. Number one, they pulled off an absolutely huge upset against GT. And number two, they have now won the new castle skin, the adjudicator castle skin that gives you 3% training speed. So they've gotten the two big prizes, I would say, of this Osiris League. The third one is going to be winning the whole thing. But what I see here from a psychological perspective is that 3379, they are really on a bit of an emotional free roll at this point. They've got the upset in their back pocket. They've got the castle skin in their back pocket. And now they have the ability to potentially beat both teams from 1960. That would be huge. That would just be a tremendous flex for the rest of their Rise of Kingdoms careers. On the other hand, 60MX, it feels to me like there's probably a bit of pressure on this team, right? They're trying to avenge the loss of their alliance mates. And this is potentially the best opportunity that MX will ever have to win a realm in the Osiris League, to get their alliance name and team name on the side of every ARC match that gets played for the next year or so. In the future, 60MX will almost always be paired in the same realm as GT, so they will always be underdogs to GT. But this is an opportunity where they are the favored team, and they certainly have a chance to win the whole thing. Now, one thing to think about here is that the account strength of 60MX is likely higher than the account strength of 3379. And so one thing MX could do in this match is really focus on the mid, try to win multiple arcs, and leverage that account strength to getting a lot of points for arc captures. On the other hand, 3379 has been very, very smart with their skill uses in both of their matches over the last 2 weeks. And so if MX goes for the very safe and standard strategy, that could play into the unpredictable hands of 3379, who might have a new surprise up their sleeve. Let's get into the match and see what happens. Thank you all for being in the chat. Lots of support for both teams in the chat. A lot of people saying go, go, go 3379. Other people calling for the MX win. We are going to see what happens here. Both teams starting to port in. And we've got about 90 seconds before this thing really kicks off. I'm very curious to see how these two teams play this one. Does 3379 feel like they have a chance to win a straight-up match here? Or do they feel like they have to do something a little bit fancy to win this one? I think that's a tough assessment for Stafer, the king of 3379, and the rest of the team. They only won by 2,000 points last week against 3174, and they really did a nice job with their skills in terms of the mid. So I think that if you are really honest about this match, you have to say that MX has the advantage in a straight-up fight. If 3379 makes that same assessment, they might try to do something risky again. We are going to find out in about a minute here. There is a lot of potential for outplay in Ark of Osiris this season, with skills like No Mark, Inferno, Master Strategy, Sun Sailor. There are just so many skills where if you use them very well, you can outplay a team that might have stronger marches than you do. At the same time, because mid and side play are both really useful and viable ways to win the match, the way you allocate your marches to the mid or to the side, that can also give you a very big edge. And if you make those decisions better than your enemy, you will often win the match. So here we go. Gates opening. Energetic being cast by both teams. We are looking to see how effective both teams are at capturing their obelisks right off the bat. You do want to have very fast T1 marches, capturing those obelisks. And ever since GT lost a couple of weeks ago, what we are seeing is that all teams are a little bit crisper in terms of getting to that mid. We see Maimer here taking a bit of a hitch as he walks towards this obelisk. What you want to note here about Maimer is he only has 3,100 T1 marches, or T1 troops. So he is fast. He's getting to this obelisk fast. But if the enemy were able to get here quickly with a very big T1 march, then potentially they could disrupt the obelisk. Now, in this case, the enemy obelisk is a little bit further away, so I don't think that the red team is really going to make a play on it. But you can see here that Dip does have 340,000 T1 troops in their obelisk, or in their obelisk capture march. And I will say MX is slightly faster to capture their first obelisk. Let's see who gets the second one first. Yeah, MX is a little bit faster here, capturing their obelisk, but not a big deal. Look at this, 3 sentry wards being placed by MX on the red side of the map. They are also looking for a bit of a surprise here. They are wary of some sort of dangerous early game play by 3379, and so they are actually devoting all 3 of their sentries to monitoring the movement of 3379 coming out of the start zone. Very interesting sentry usage by MX. You can see only 1 sentry being used by 3379. And earlier today we were watching a match and we saw many players with the new special effect on their marches, this blue effect for, I believe it's SVIP. Let's take a look at the MX side. Yeah, quite a few more special effects over here, giving you a sense of the VIP levels of some of these players, and certainly higher VIP on the MX side. 3379 has certainly been punching above their weight thus far in Osiris League, and they're going to try to do it again this time. One thing I'm noticing here is that MX is taking a very interesting route on the top side. Very few marches headed to this desert altar. This is unconventional for MX. What are they doing? And look, and then they're stopping right here. Very interesting movement here by MX. We thought it might be 3379 who has something up their sleeves, but as these marches roll out, it almost feels like MX has something planned. This is... yeah, they've got something going here. This might be some sort of a warp play here. I mean, look at this. They're just standing here in between their 2 buildings. Now they're shifting over. Maybe they were just maybe this was just a defensive maneuver to see if 3379 had something planned. 3379 getting baited a bit by this Huo rally. You know, getting some very good damage on it as they now move to the desert altar. It almost looks like it was just a safety play for MX. They just sort of stood here for a bit to see what the enemy was doing. Once they saw that the enemy was doing something standard, they went heavy on the defense at their desert altar. 3379 balling up here, thinking about making a play on either the Shrine of Life or the obelisk. This rotation and this position is being picked up by MX. Cortex here spotting this out. He is going to get eaten up here, but he got some very good intel on it. And then Zatanna Gaming and some other players from MX also engaging 3379. It looks like they're pretty outnumbered here. It looks like the MX is a bit outnumbered here. So red team will at least win this little engagement. But let's take a look around the map at what else is happening. MX being fairly aggressive here at the Desert Altar, but a pretty even fight. And it looks like 3379 did jump in this building first, although it looks like it's, yep, and there's the Eleanor getting into the Desert Altar safely. MX is taking both buildings on the top side. They did a quick, easy flip of the Shrine of Life that's going to get cleaned up. MX being aggressive here, coming towards the Shrine of Life. And then on the top side, they did get the initial jump into the Sky Altar. Although, to be fair, there is a lot of red marches who are going to flip this building back. So a bit of a, yeah, definitely a strong start for MX. Look at all the sad faces. Look at all of these sad faces from 3379 just getting absolutely wrecked at this Desert Altar. And that will allow MX to put major pressure on this Shrine of War. It's hard to imagine this Shrine of War not getting flipped here by a swarm. And so that account strength for MX is kind of showing itself early here. 3379 does have the Eleanor here in this shrine, but the Eleanor is going to have to fight with all her might to hold off some very fresh marches from MX, swarming her down. Yep, she's dropping fast. Look at this full swarm, roughly 10 marches here, surrounding this Shrine of War. Catty Cat trying to get over here to attack these swarmers. But yeah, the Shrine of War is going to be flipped here by MX. And they are now holding 2 buildings from 3379. Shrine of Life still being held by MX. 1 minute left on the capture. Obviously, the first capture bonus is very important. And for this building here, for example, you get 400 points if you get that first occupation. You can see that you need to hold it for 3 minutes to get that first capture. And it's the same thing over here at the Shrine of Life, right? It's back in 3379's control, but it's going to take them another 2.5 minutes to actually capture and lock in the first capture. On the Sky Altar, which has been safely in MX's hands the whole match, it's only 30 seconds to go, and they will collect 750 points for the first occupation. That is the opening stage of the Ark of Osiris gameplay. The next stage, of course, will be that first Ark spawning in the middle. That will take place in 4 minutes. Here we have a rally from Voldemort, pincer formation from 3379. Let's see who is behind this Scipio. We've seen different pairings with this Scipio rally. 3379 going with the Pakal as the secondary. More sustain from that Pakal, more anti-swarm, staying alive longer against a swarm. And sustain is certainly important in Ark of Osiris rallies. And at the moment, both teams have their own buildings. One outpost is being held by MX, but 3379 has done a decent job here of getting their buildings back and being in a position to get the first captures. Now the question is, can they rotate to mid on time to contest this first mid, or is that even what they want to do? Ultimately, this has been a high intensity opening, but it has also been a pretty standard opening. Nothing too surprising from either team. A little bit stronger fighting from MX, but good responses by 3379. And the score is a little bit in MX's favor, but that will even out in the next minute or so. And the lead in this match will be determined by who gets the first Ark. Both teams mobilizing from the start zone for this Ark. We now see 3379 rotating from the bottom side. And then what are these marches going to do here at the Shrine of War? Some marches going forward to the side, other marches going middle. So a decent amount of marches for 3379 in the middle, or excuse me, on the sides. They're not fully allocated to this mid. What is MX doing in response? They are looking like they're pretty heavy mid. No attacks from MX. Let's notice that. MX is not attacking any buildings on the side right now. They have some marches playing defense. These players here, Iluya and Sky, they are playing a bit of defense. But what I'm seeing is heavy rotation mid by MX and relatively heavy rotation by 3379. Although it seems like 3379 kind of wants to attack the sides. A player here hiding on the mountain range. Another player here skirmishing in the field. So maybe a slight numbers advantage for MX here and a confident posturing by MX. They feel good about their mid chances. They went pretty heavy on this first mid. And it's a good thing they did because 3379 has also gone pretty heavy mid. Sneaky tactics now being cast. And then an immediate Desert Storm. Immediate counter of the sneaky tactics by MX. They use the Desert Storm to reveal the marches and then cast To the Death to contest and fight these marches. A response to the death by 3379. Both teams using To the Death on the first mid-fight of the game. This fight is taking place with 50 seconds to go before the arc spawns. It is happening on 3379's side of the map. MX very confidently taking this fight, engaging into them, using To the Death, but sad faces from MX. Sad faces, oh boy, what are we looking at here? This is crazy. Tons of sad faces from MX, some sad faces for the red team, but look at how the red team ball is gradually pushing towards this mid, and they are sad facing the crap out of 60 MX here. Holy smokes, what is happening? 3379 once again winning a mid fight. They did this last week and they are doing it again here. Really surprising MX. This is a huge momentum shift in this match. MX likely came in feeling very confident about their chances to win mid, and they just got beat in a straight up fight by 3379. Wow. Even the chat saying, what are we seeing here? This is crazy stuff. Big win in the mid for 3379. They are likely feeling very good at the moment. A bit of a down moment here for MX emotionally, but at the end of the day, this is a very long match. MX has been better on the sides so far. This was just one moment in time. This was a 1 minute window where 3379 hit harder than MX did. And let's see what they do with this arc now. This is very interesting now. This is very interesting in terms of what they do with this arc, because I think they would have initially felt like their advantage is on the side in this match. But after you win the first arc fight that convincingly, do you decide to go with a mid strategy and return this arc relatively quickly? MX has flipped the Desert Altar. We see from the occupation score that MX has a nice 1,000 point lead in occupation score. So they have been pretty good on the side so far. And I think what we have really now is just a super close match. A super close match between these two teams as they really are vying here to make it to the finals of the Realm of Horus. So the marches that were successful in the mid from red team, they are now rotating to their Desert Altar and attempting to take it back. They're just going to swarm down this Desert Altar. If this was a perfect attack, they would have a rally coming out right now as well, because to swarm down this Gorgo Hera garrison is no easy task. And you can see these marches that were just so dominant mid and full of health, they are getting shredded, absolutely shredded by this Gorgo Hera. And look at this. 3379 is almost not really swarming that much. It's almost like they're cleaning up potential reinforcements. They're cleaning up some of these marches on the side. And there it goes. It does get flipped. The Desert Altar going in 3379's direction here, getting their building back. Both teams have all their own buildings. And the Ark, they're going to take this Ark to their cities. And I think what they will do is they're going to hold it at the cities for a bit and just evaluate and look for a good moment to return it. Now, the other thing to note is that no mark is available for both teams. Neither team has cast a no mark. No mark really amplifies the scoring on the sides. And so if you're doing well at a certain moment in time on the sides, you can use no mark and get tremendous value and tremendous point gain from no mark. Neither team is using it now because they both used a lot of skills mid. They used 9 points mid, and they're essentially waiting now to get 6 points on their bar again so they can use no mark at the right time. And there it is, a very fast capture. A very fast, oh no, excuse me, they just swapped who was carrying the Ark. No Ark has been returned yet. They just swapped who was carrying it. Let's look at this map now. No attacks looking that viable at the moment. A mishmash in the field here on the top side. On the bottom side, some good momentum for 3379 at this Sky Altar, and the rally is coming in. This looks like the most promising attack at this moment is the attack by 3379 on this building. Let's see how they're doing here in the field. Looks like some pretty low health marches on blue. Sora very low on the Huo. Ahmad Aziz. Joan also going down quickly. You can see the Joan is getting swarmed down by Voldemort here. Focus firing this Joan as Voldemort's rally gets a clean look at this Eleanor. Once again, it's going to be a Scipio Pakal rally against the Eleanor. 3379 is going to try and clear the field. And then with what's left, they will try to swarm. Look, they're trying to protect this rally. Ahmad Aziz making an interesting decision here to swarm down this rally. Very sturdy rally. This is why this Pakal secondary was chosen, is because the defense is going to focus on the rally. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's enough of a defense. Enough of a defense from 60MX. They are going to hold here at the Sky Altar. And then look at here's Uni again, another Scipio Pakal rally, threatening and pressuring this building. But again, it looks like a pretty solid defense by Red Team. 3379 holding on pretty good here. Well, I mean, it's touch and go. This is a little more touch and go. The rally is likely to go down, but there are a lot of blue marches here who can try and swarm the building down. A gift code being dropped in the chat. Thank you all for watching the Osiris League semifinals. A special gift code in the chat for everybody. Go ahead and grab that. I'm gonna go ahead and copy that myself and use it later. So a really exciting match here. A 1,500 point lead for MX, but once you factor in the Ark, it's actually a real lead of 1,500 for Unity Faith 3379, and MX does flip this Desert Altar. A big flip here for MX at the Desert Altar. It took some time, and it wasn't the rally, or was did the rally stay up the whole time? Let's take a look. Yep, look at that rally. Look at the sustain on that rally. A lot of reinforcements. And ultimately finishing off with 817,000. So good reinforcements on a very tanky rally right there. That's why you go with that Scipio Pakal in high-level Osiris League matches. It might be a surprising combo to some, but we are seeing it from both teams here. You can tell that it's actually meta. So a 1 altar and 1 outpost advantage for MX. They are on the attack in the Sky Altar lane on the top side. And, you know, you can see that the attacks by 3379 are having trouble. 3379 is really having a lot of trouble taking any of these 60 MX buildings, and this is really the template that 60 GT introduced in previous seasons. 60 GT played incredibly strong defense. Teams were very rarely able to take buildings from 60 GT, and what we are seeing from their Kingdom mates here is that the defense is carrying over. MX playing very good defense. This Sky Altar is really not under much threat at all. An even number of marches here in the field, picking up the players early on. Look at Voldemort. He's already completely melted before any of these swarmers even get to the building. Yes, his rally will get there, but look, you've got 2 reinforcements just sitting here back. Another reinforcement coming through. Just very, very solid defense here by MX in all these lanes. If we look at the top side, very similar story, right? Absolutely no offense being able to get mustered here by 3379. They're just declining to even support this rally. They're saying, if we go in, we're going to get wrecked. Let's make sure we don't lose our Shrine of War. Let's just stand here and wait for an attack because we have no chance of taking this building. Big numbers for 3379 on the outside lane, so nothing happening here. We saw this building get flipped earlier by MX. Maybe they'll go for another fight here. Look at where the fights are happening. These fights are just happening in the field. Very interesting stuff. Both teams just feeling like if we have an advantage in a certain spot, we have to take this fight. If we run into the enemy, who we can't see due to the fog of war, it's better to fight than to try to run away. So many Lucci marches in the field with the slow on Lucci. I believe BQ, the new commander, also has a slow on him. So a lot of ways to slow down marches. And it's just not worth it to run away. You just, if the fight is in front of you, you just have to take it. But look at this. We saw a fight happening here just a few seconds ago, and all of a sudden there's a huge MX ball pouring down on this desert altar, and what was once a 1,500 point lead is now a 2,400 point lead. A very big advantage for MX on the sides, and this is the risk of holding the arc. You just hold the arc for so long that the enemy outscores you on the sides. At this point, 3379 is probably feeling like we need to figure out a time and place to return this arc and try our chances mid, because it's not working on the sides. MX is looking very strong at these buildings. 3379's Archer rally walking through. That will be a completely unassisted rally. Look at this Quadra just sneaking through. Kind of an interesting play by 3379 here. Feeling like maybe they can hold. Maybe they can hold without Quadra. Oh, Quadra was just trying to swarm the rally. Look at this. The prioritization of the... Actually, I'm not sure what Quadra's doing here. Now hitting reinforcements. Anyway, this is another promising attack here. The rally's down to half health. Let's watch this rally. It's getting swarmed down very fast. No reinforcements getting into Uni's rally this time. The rally's going down, and it looks like this is going to be a defense by 3379. So once again, most of the both teams hold all their buildings. More outpost shenanigans by MX. MX is getting pretty good value at the outpost. You see, this was an empty building that a red health Joan William managed to flip. So, some good value for that march for sure. And now 3379 is going to try to get an attack. This is their most promising attack that we've probably seen all match long. They've got the rally at the building, only one person swarming the rally, nobody able to get reinforcements in, no archers. This is the danger of these archer rallies, is that you just don't have many archers in the field to reinforce it. But they do have field control here, and so they might be able to flip this Shrine of War. And they did just return the Ark. The Ark was just returned by 3379. Not a great timing for these players here, but maybe some good timings for other lanes. 3379 looking to flip their first building of the match. Emojis getting thrown out by, I believe that's the Eleanor. One last emoji for the road, because that Eleanor is getting sent packing. There's the flip by 3379. And everything else is pretty solid. Another solid defense by MX. 3379 not having much luck at this Sky Altar at all. You can see that the only way 3379 is getting a flip is a very opportunistic play where they had a very good defense and then they slingshotted forward to flip their Shrine of War. I wonder if they're keeping marches in here or not. Uni's feeling like maybe I can just steal this thing back with one march. Let's see if he can do it. Yep. A flip of an empty building there because they're rotating. Quadra, very dynamic play by Quadra midway through this match. They are rotating over to this. Ooh, this is tough. Tough moment for 3379 here because they're rotating too late. The attack on this lane has already happened. It's already failed. And so all these marches here are going to get no value. They're just going to get no value at all. It's almost like they're killing themselves off, but I don't know. Maybe you defend the Shrine of War and try to get a few extra points there. We have basically a tie game going to the second mid. The thing to note here, everybody, the thing to note is that neither team cast no mark. Neither team used no mark. They're both saving their points for the mid fight. Both teams, again, feeling like this second mid is extremely important. And so they are holding all their skills for the second mid. Now, what a team could do, what they could try to do is try to just stack the second mid, fight for the sides, and use no mark then. But that's a very risky play. Especially if you're 3379, who is struggling on the side. This Eleanor is under threat again. Uni's rally doing okay. Another rain coming in here. This Lucci rain's trying to get in, about 8 seconds to go. It is going to fill this thing up. Swarmers on the building. Rally holding up, taking the attention of the defense. And this Eleanor is under heavy, heavy threat. Another attack from MX that looks like it might work just barely. The Eleanor's holding on. The Eleanor's getting reinforcements. Kulak's got the full... Look at this. Kulak has the full Nevsky March here that could jump in this building. The rally's still up. The Swarmers are starting to get cleaned up. Reinforcements available for 3379. Are they going to hold? It looks like they're going to hold. A very close and important hold here for 3379. That's what they needed. They needed that. But now there's 4 minutes to go before Arc. And what are all these marches going to do? What are these marches going to do here? What is Kulak going to do here? What is Double Ray going to do here? They're so low that you really can't support this rally. There's no ability to support the rally. They're just going to kill themselves off or run home. Kulak is going to run home. Double Ray running home. Even One Nut Man here running home to get a fresh march and send it mid. I think both teams are making their intentions clear. They are going to go for a heavy mid presence again. 60MX did not like what happened on that first mid, but they're going to double down. 60MX is going to double down and go for another mid. I think we see a lot of movement to mid from here. For a few players here are thinking about an altar attack, another altar attack. Let's see if there's a rally up. Yep, they are going to attack this altar again. Uni's got another rally pinged at this desert altar. He's balling up in the field. So MX is going for a bit of a... They're going for a 2-for-1 here. They're going to try to fight at the mid, but they're also going to try and flip this altar again. A little bit greedy by MX. Let's see how they use their skills. If they use no march, they can get some points for the sides. I don't think they're going to do that. I think you have to use your skills mid. This mid fight is going to be very important. This is a 500-point game. Whoever wins this mid fight is going to have a really nice advantage here. So, a risky play here for MX to allocate 10 or so marches, maybe 12 marches, to try to take this desert altar. I do think it will work, and they're pulling Kulak back, right? Kulak would have liked to have gone mid, but Kulak is going to try and defend at this desert altar instead. We've got 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes here before the arc spawns. A bit of time, and both teams are balling up very conservatively. Nothing happening mid. The action is here at the desert altar. Rally coming in. Arch formation. Interesting. Yeah, Uni's got the arch formation. Again, you can't go with... You can't build everything for Osiris League. Uni is a garrison player in 960. He needs Arch for the high-level KVKs, and so he's having to use Arch on this rally. It hasn't been bad because he's been getting swarmed so heavily. The Arch is pretty good against the swarm, but right now this rally is completely full, not getting swarmed, and there's plenty of MX marches in blue here, swarming the desert altar down. Big mobilization for 3379 mid. How's the mobiles? Ooh. Oh boy. Oh boy. Look at the numbers. I mean, they're stacked on top of each other. Blue is stacked on top of each other very tightly to hide to conceal their numbers. But I mean, when you look at it, you feel like 3379 has more people mid. Look, a lot of blue marches here at the Shrine of War. I think you maybe, and look at all this. Look at all these players. I think you need to cast no mark here. I think if you're MX, you have to sack the mid and cast no mark and get value for some of these buildings. Because look at how strong 3379 looks mid. Mool's in the chat saying that he's using Arch because he doesn't have... Because it's better with Pakal. Well, both are true, Mools. He doesn't have Pincer and it's better with Pakal. But thank you for your feedback in the chat, Mools. So, 3379 very confidently coming in here, and they have a big numbers advantage here. This is why I think No March has to get... And it did get cast. Yeah, No Mark being cast by 60MX. They're sacking the mid. They're sacking the mid. And 3379 looking very well positioned for this second arc. They're getting value for the no mark because they have taken the desert altar and flipped both buildings on the top side. Clean capture of the Shrine of War and also clean capture of the sky altar. And here at the sky altar, MX is posturing forward and they're going to try and hold this building for quite a bit of time. Let's look at the points at this stage. 630 more points for 3379. And so, you know, this is going to be very good value for 60MX. The question is, can they make up... Oh, look at this. A steal of the arc by MX. This is going to really delay the arc capture. You can see that the numbers advantage is well in hand for 3379. They're going to have to clean up this mid a little bit. But this... But, you know, this is a nice... This is pretty good value for MX, all in all. They have to make up 3,500 points that the arc is going to be worth. They're on their way. They're on their way. Because look at this defense at the Sky Altar. They're just going to be ticking so many points here at this building. They're up to 1,200 points per minute. Huge, huge points gain for MX at this point. They're making 1,100 points per minute. If they can just hold all these buildings for 4 minutes, then they literally do make up for the arc. They make up for this second arc if they can just keep the state of things as is for a few minutes. All in all, a well-executed no-mark play by 60MX. Worth noting that 3379 did not have to cast any skills mid, so they still have no mark left. They still have a lot of points on their skill bar. So they will be able to get some of these points back with their own no mark. But at this point, it is a 2,000 point lead, and the points game is still as is. Look at this. Huge defense at this Desert Altar. Huge defense at this Sky Altar. Very, very well executed play by MX here. They even made it look like they were going mid. They even rotated mid early to make it look to 3379 like they were going mid. And they really fooled me for a while too. So a very well executed no mark play by 3379 here. And look at this, they've just got all the buildings. Rally coming out here. Look, I mean, can they do it? I mean, this is gonna be a huge fight here at the Desert Altar. MX is gonna hold on for as long as they can. This is what 3379 has to do. Listen, this match is still very close, right? We're gonna have a third arc. I think that MX will have a lead going in to the third arc, but it's gonna be a close match where if 3379 wins that third arc, they will probably win the match. Now a 3,000 point lead for MX. Look at this. Look at this defense. They're just swarming down the rally. A pretty strong Gorgo Hera trying to hang on here. Look at this. MX kind of breaking away even. They're like abandoning... MX is abandoning the building to ambush the arc. Oh my gosh. They're just going to ambush the arc. I mean, well, this is dangerous. Oh boy, this is dangerous at this point. I mean, there's just no escort on this arc at all. There is no escort on this arc. Dip is all alone. Kenny's realizing now what's happening. MX is going to take down the arc. I mean, they're so close to the cities that this might not be enough, but that looked promising for a moment. It looked promising for MX for a moment there, for sure. And it's disruptive, but it's not too bad. It's not, you know what, 3379 is not being too hurt by this because they have their buildings, they have what they need. No mark now being cast by 3379. They've gotten not all of their buildings back. Look, this 60MX altar is still... Now it finally flips in 3379's direction. The MX no mark has worn off. The MX no mark has worn off. The red team no mark is active. At this point, MX still has the points lead. They have a 4,300 point lead in the match. When you get rid of the arc, they have an 800 point lead. Arc is still being contested. Arc is still being contested. I'm not watching it too much just because I feel like this is in Red Team's control. I think Red Team has this thing under control. What this can potentially set up for is another attack on this Desert Altar, right? There can be another attack on this Desert Altar. We can see this lane pushing forward again. They've put... Well, these marches can get back in time. This is a heck of a lane. Heck of a lot of action here in this Desert Altar lane. Let's quickly check the other... Again, no progress here. 3379 has had just no success in this lane. You almost want to... I would almost give up on this lane and have more defense at this Desert Altar. They've had no luck at this Desert Altar. They haven't even touched this building. 3379 has not even touched this Desert Altar. And... this Sky Altar was doing pretty good for most of the match, but it was a huge, huge point gain for Blue a few moments ago. We check the scoring now. We do see now that 3379 has the points advantage. They're gonna close the gap here. Once they return this arc, we've got a very close game. We've got a very close game here with about with one arc left, right? One arc left. Actually, it's worth noting. It is worth noting that this could potentially be the last arc of the game. Because of the fact that arc changed hands, because of the fact that 60MX took control of the arc, the timer has been reset, and so we actually have... They could hold this thing for 14 minutes and make this the last arc of the game. 3379 has the option to hold this for the rest of the game. It's hard to imagine that they will, because they are losing on the sides. They are definitely losing on the sides. Another attack coming in here on the Desert Altar. This one looks like it's not going to work. I don't think this one's going to work. A big swarm on this rally. They can just swarm the rally down and then deal with whatever's left over. So this seemed a little promising for MX. You know, the arc disruption seemed promising for MX, but they're really not going to get a lot out of it. Their next attack is actually going to fail. And, you know, 3379 is playing themselves back in the match. Let me quickly look at the gathering scores of these two teams in previous weeks. We have to start thinking about gathering here. MX did 5,000 gathering last week. 3379 did almost no gathering last week. They did less than 1,000 gathering last week. So let's quickly look at the gatherers. 2 gatherers out for 3379. 6 gatherers out for MX. We see the gathering difference. We see a very substantial gathering difference here. Maybe it's 5 marches gathering. Nope. So here's Papa Boba. A big full march here that looks like it's probably a full-time gatherer, perhaps. So heavy gathering from MX. Now look, all of a sudden, 3379 is realizing, wait a minute, this could be the last arc, and this could be a side play plus gathering game. And they're thinking about it. 3379 is thinking about it. Do we make this a gathering game? But one thinks that they're probably pretty far behind. They're probably pretty far behind with what looks like a bunch of full-time gatherers for MX. So a calculation is going to have to get made by 3379 here over the next really it's over the next 2 to 3 minutes. They have to decide, do they return this arc and make it a 3-arc game, or do they hold the arc and try to win with points in other ways? Honestly, I think they have to return the arc. I think they have to look at past matches and realize that MX does heavy gathering, and they just cannot expect to win this match without a 3rd arc. Pretty wild stuff. What a match. What a match we've got on our hands so far. Earlier in the chat, Caesar said year of the underdogs. That remains to be seen, and it depends on whether you consider MX an underdog or not. They're certainly the favorite in this match, but 3379 as the perennial underdog is, you know, they've given themselves a chance here with 15 minutes to go. Another very strong attack here. A lot of defense, but a very strong attack. Look at how coordinated this attack is. The field getting there just before the rally. The field supporting the rally, defending against the marches that are swarming the rally. I think these field marches have decided to not swarm the building. They're actually going to swarm the swarmers and keep this rally up. It was a full rally from the start. Let's see how it does. Let's see how it compares to this Eleanor in the garrison. The Eleanor dropping to yellow first, but the Eleanor getting plenty of reinforcements. Sad faces from red. We likely will continue to see sad faces from red because the red marches are trying to pressure this rally. Whereas the blue marches, look at most of the blue marches are protecting the rally, and then this one player here is swarming on the backside and getting a clean swarm on it. The rally is getting a little low, 500k, but pretty good pressure by blue if we zoom out. Definitely a numbers advantage for blue here. And the arc did get returned. They returned the arc. The arc was returned by 3379. There will be one more arc in this match. And now the decision tree shifts in the direction of MX, right? MX has a 500-point lead. They might flip another building here. They do. MX flips the Desert Altar again. That will give them more points game. They might have a 1,000 point lead going into the third arc. Do they feel like they are winning enough on gathering that they can sack the next arc, use no mark again on the sides? You know, as much as I said that 3379 should return the arc, I think that MX should sack the third arc and just use no mark again and do the side game again. It sounds crazy, but like, I just think the path to victory is there. You're going to get more points from your gatherers, and then you're going to get like a really nice boost from another no mark. So it's on the table. That strategy is on the table. What do you think, chat? If you're MX, do you go for the third mid, or do you go for another side play? Look at all this attention on this. Look at all this attention on this Desert Altar. Kanai in the chat saying, can't you use no mark one time in a game? With the skill Time Warp, you can reset your skill bar and then use your next skill for free. So what MX could do is cast Time Warp and then use no mark again. Erdbeer says mid. Slava says skip. Caesar says occupation and provisions. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough call. What makes it tougher is that 3379 can read it, right? They can make a read, and if they feel like MX is doing a side play game, then they can cheat a little bit mid, use no march themselves on the side, grab that third arc, and mitigate the damage of the side play. 6 minutes to go into arc. We don't know yet. We don't know yet what MX is going to do, because they would be doing this attack either way, right? These attacks would happen either way. So they're going to do this attack. So no rally here on this outside lane. That's the one issue here. No rally by MX here on the outside lane. They're getting picked up by a very big group from 3379. Rana says master strategy incoming. You got to factor the master strategy in as well, for sure. Large Sponge says you need some commitment to middle. Can't give middle for free. I agree with that as well. I think you can't, but you know, last time MX did this same thing. They went to mid early, made it look like they were going mid, and then they didn't send anyone else mid. So I agree you can't give it away for free, but what are they going to do? Boy, it looks like they're going heavy mid, doesn't it? But it's early. Boy, they're going mid very early. Very sort of conservative shot calling here by MX to just, to show their hand early, I think. I think they're showing their hand early here by just going very heavy mid. Look, we saw Uni's rallies earlier getting supported. Now his rally is not even full, and it has no support. At this point, 3379 knows exactly what MX is going to do. They know exactly what MX is going to do. And the question is, can 3379 respond? I mean, this is what the red team wanted. They wanted a third arc. They're going to get the third arc, but they're going to face an absolute juggernaut when they get there. Slava asks, if you kill gatherers, do they lose all progress? Yes, if you kill them while they're still in the node. So like this player here, if you killed them while they were in the node, they would lose everything that they had gathered. If they leave the node, if they just start walking away, walking in any direction, then they save their provisions. So the gatherer just has to be alert enough to leave the resource node, and they'll keep everything. Okay, so people are noticing the score. MX now has a 4,000 point lead. That's going to be the gatherers. They brought their gatherers home. Yep, they brought their gatherers home. So now they've got a 3K point lead. Those gatherers will now fight mid. You can see that this is just a full commit to mid from MX. It's interesting, you know, this is why I sort of liked the side play, because they've got a 4,500 point lead here, you know, and I just don't think 3379 has a lot of gathering. But this is pretty well executed by MX2, right? They're bringing everybody mid. They're even bringing the gatherers mid. Like, they're even bringing the gatherers mid. And so 3379 knows it. Like, 3379 knows it. They can even see the gathering score. They can even see that MX brought in the gatherers. So they know that MX is going mid, and 3379 is now doing the same. Look at the sides. This is so rare in this Osiris League season to see the sides as desolate as they are in this match. These two teams are playing for a spot in the finals of the Realm of Horus, and they are both betting it all on the third arc. It's about a 4,000 point lead for MX, and this third arc is worth 4,000 points. That being said, we feel like 3379 probably has a bit of points in gathering. So I do think that 3379 will have the lead if they capture this arc. Time Warp being cast by MX, or excuse me, 3379. Time Warp being cast by 3379. They want to use To the Death again. 2 minutes to go before arc. MX taking the temple. 3379 not batting an eye, inching up closer. Both teams probably looking to use To the Death again here. Two skills unrevealed by MX is probably going to be Time Warp and something else, maybe Sneaky Tactics. You wonder what these two teams have other than To the Death to help them mid. MX inching closer. They want this fight. Redline with the Time Warp. To the Death by 3379. To the Death by MX. Both teams engaging. Bog Down by 3379. High value Bog Down versus the Desert Storm. So much dust and bog on this map. To the Death chunking massive damage for both teams. Both teams engaging very evenly here. A few stragglers. Some sad faces from Red. Let's zoom out a little bit and see these sad faces. A lot of sad faces from Red. A lot of sad faces from Red. Oh boy, MX. A confident engage by MX. They're getting some sad faces, but it's looking good for the blue team here. Oh, the train of sad faces possibly ending the season, the Cinderella season for 3379, as MX, after losing the first two mid fights, they came to play on number 3. MX cleaning things up at the mid, arc spawning in 15 seconds, and there is nothing but blue marches for all the eye to see. One very optimistic red cavalry march trying to get the steal. Dip has been all over the map today, but he's not going to get this third arc, that's for sure. Big engage there for MX. They did what they needed there. They're looking good in this match. The chat going nuts, saying GG MX. Danky noting that the power stayed on for Mamer. Yeah, the skills got cast that time. It was actually Redline. Redline cast 2 of the skills, and then Pignoof cast the 3rd. So, you know, yeah, no big mistakes for MX mid this season. They famously had some mid problems last season because their shot caller's power went out. But look at that, a victorious parade here by MX. Boy, they really had to work for this one. If you're red team, you're thinking about the ambush. You can see that, you know, 3379 has played great this season. They've really done everything right. They honestly played very well today even. And so they're going to go for the ambush here. They're going to go for the ambush. And, you know, blue doesn't really see it. Blue doesn't really see the ambush. They don't have any sentries here to spot the ambush. They've got a lot of marches to pick it up. But, I mean, they're doing whatever they can here. 3379 is. But it's probably not going to be enough. The ambush on the top side is slower. They're just going to dump it. They're just going to dunk this thing right in the outpost. No messing around. Mool's saying that MX is the redeem team. They are going to redeem the defeat for GT and really try to set their own mark on this league. I mean, if you win the whole thing, you've done more than redeem it. you've put your name on the map. But there it is, Papa Boba returning the Ark. Now an 8,000 point lead for MX. And boy, I mean, it was a back and forth war the whole way. And really, it just well executed by both teams at various points. I think that MX had very good execution on that Ark fight. We saw 3379 push into MX, and then, as you can see from the log, it was actually 3379 that cast to the death first. Redline cast to the death after they had already absorbed the attack, after the attack had already come in to MX, then they cast to the death. So they just got like so much value for that to the death. Like all their marches were already fighting when to the death got cast. And you combine that with the account strength, and it was just a very nice win for MX there. And hey, 3379 is finally touching this Desert Altar. They haven't touched this thing all game. Hummer is finally going to get a rally to hit it with some actual marches there. And, you know, they're flipping some buildings here. They're flipping some buildings. They flipped the Shrine of War. Now they're going to go for the Obelisk. I mean, you got to try something at this point. 90 seconds to go, and there's just no way. There's no way for 3379 to come back. Their season is going to come to an end here. But they're going to try and get a few more points, or at least a few more individual points before they come out. MVP very hotly contested here. Many players in the running to be MVP of one of the best matches of the season. So everybody's trying to still get some points. Yep, we bet incorrectly on 60 GT earlier in the season, but we got it right on this one. MX is going to come through for the Auric bettors today. But it was not without some touch-and-go moments here. 3379 definitely made it interesting. Apparently Papa Boba is also free-to-play, so nice to see some free-to-play players getting some really, really accomplishing a lot in Osiris League this season. You know, I think that, MX, we can say they're the B team in 960, but these are players who have played this game for a long time. They've put a lot of time and money into this game. And I think that their accomplishments and what they're trying to achieve as players and what they're trying to achieve in their career in this game, it really does stand separate from the GT team to an extent. Like, they're on the same team, but these are all different players, and they all have their own accomplishments, and when it's all said and done, they're all going to have their own memories. And so I think for all of these players on MX, winning on their own right is going to be a very big deal. They're one step away. MX advances to the finals. Ahmad Aziz getting the MVP here. And they end up winning by 7,000 points. A good win on the ratio. Winning in occupation and provisions. Doing enough with the Ark to win against 3379. A very valiant effort by this young kingdom. But it is 60MX who will advance to the Realm of Horus finals next week against OWR. That will be a best of 3 series between two very strong teams. That will likely be an excellent match as well. Really fun to watch MX today. Some interesting decisions being made. And thank you all for watching. Do throw a like on this stream. Subscribe to the official channel if you have not already. We will be back next week to cast the finals of all of these realms. We will see more exciting Ark of Osiris play next Sunday. But until then, I will see you all on the flip side.